He demanded a doctor's note, so I got one that ruined his week. Back in my early 20s, I worked at a supermarket. I was the kind of employee who always showed up early, rarely got sick, and did my job without complaints. At the time this happened, I hadn't called in sick for 9 months, and even then, the manager had sent me home. So when I woke up one day burning hot, freezing cold, vomiting from both ends, I'll spare you the full imagery, I knew I was seriously ill. Around 2 a.m., I was passed out on the toilet, head slumped into the sink. At 7 a.m., I finally came to and realized there was no way I was making it to my 12 p.m. shift. I called my manager. We'll call him Steve. Steve was notorious for being a total jerk. He never believed anyone was actually sick, unless it was one of his drinking buddies. Ironically, Steve himself would often call in sick, clearly hungover. Our conversation went like this. Me: "Hey Steve, I can't come in today, I'm really sick." Steve: "With what?" Me: "I think it's the flu. Fever, vomiting. I even passed out." Steve: "Don't be stupid. If it was the flu, you'd be out cold. Come in or you're fired." Me: "I can't even stand up without puking." Steve: "Then get a doctor's note or you're done." Now, in the UK, employees can self-certify sick for up to 5 days. Employers cannot legally demand a doctor's note before then. But I was scared. This was during a recession. I needed that job. So I dragged myself out of bed, nearly collapsed getting dressed, and stumbled 25 minutes to the walk-in clinic. When I finally saw the doctor, she was furious. "Why are you here? You have the flu. You're not supposed to come in for this. You can self-certify." I explained what Steve had said and how I was terrified of losing my job. Her expression changed instantly. Her anger redirected. She asked if I got sick pay. I said yes. She said, "He wants a note? Fine, he'll get a note." The note she wrote wasn't just a confirmation. It was a full takedown. "My name has presented at my surgery today because manager's name demanded a sick note, despite it being illegal within the first 5 days of illness. The patient is clearly unwell, fever of 39 degrees, and nearly collapsed in my waiting room. Had the patient been permitted to rest, they may have only required a few days off. However, due to the strain of this unnecessary and dangerous trip, I am signing them off for 2 full weeks. They are not to work again until date 2 weeks later." She even said she would have signed me off longer if legally allowed. So instead of being off a couple of days, I got 2 weeks, fully paid. I went back to work just long enough to drop off the note. A duty manager saw me, white as a sheet, and asked what I was doing there. I told them. They escorted me down to Steve's office. Steve looked up, saw the paper, and immediately tried to backpedal. "I wasn't serious about firing you." Sure. The duty manager wasn't having it. They told Steve they were driving me home and that I shouldn't have been there to begin with. They later reported the entire situation to our union rep. Steve got a disciplinary hearing, a final warning, and had to work overtime because we were short-staffed. Since I was off enjoying 2 weeks of recovery in the sunshine, all because he demanded a doctor's note.